We're looking at this series here, Transformers, More Than Meets the Mind. Transform. Today we're going to look at it again, Romans 1 and 2, being transform or conformed. Transform or conformed. How many of you enjoy Halloween? It's like one of the most popular holidays. Thank you, whatever that word is. Holidays. It's not really a holy day, but it is one of the most popular. So what were you growing up? What was your favorite costume? Cinderella, yes, of course, a princess. Somebody else? Tina Turner, yes. Rock it out, yeah. How many read Taylor Swift yesterday? Anybody? No, they're just too old. The crowd is too old, all right. Any purists, like, Batman, Wonder Woman? Casper the Ghost? Yeah. I wanted to be Superman, and we were poor, and we were pretty pathetic. Not because we were poor, just pathetic, and just the way and so we'd go down to the Woolworths, and we would go down to that store, and they have these costumes in these little boxes, and they have a mask with a little cellophane over the front, or sometimes no cellophane, and you'd have, Superman back. And I got this Superman outfit. I was so excited, and opened it up, and there was only a cape and a mask. And the mask had little plastic, a little elastic that went around, and it was just like hard plastic. Didn't do any, but you put on these little slits, and a little slit for the mouth, and you couldn't eat anything, but you have to lift it up. And before Halloween ever came around, I lost the red cape. So I had to get a red towel and put a clothespin to hold it together. Now, a clothespin is something that you take, you outside, and you put it out, and you hang. Some of you don't even have a clue. You've never even used the clothespin in your life, so don't be laughing at me. So I'm rocking the Superman outfit and my red towel. And I'm going through, with my pillowcase, because we couldn't even afford sacks, so we used a pillowcase to put the candy in, or maybe it was High Hopes to fill that thing up. And then you come across the people from the rich neighborhood. And they have like the real Superman outfit. And it wasn't just two slits in the eyes. It was like this, the hair was working and the whole thing. And I was just embarrassed. So I got this towel and a paper clip and the whole thing. Here's the deal. Neither one of us were really Superman. Neither one of us could fly faster than a speeding train or a bullet, or fly like a bird, or jump tall buildings in a single bounce. And if both of us got shot, we would both die, right? We couldn't stop a bullet. That is conforming. I want to look like something I'm not. I want to make myself into something I'm not. And I can put on a mask. I make myself look really good, but that's conforming. It was a bit embarrassing. Transforming means I can actually fly and stop a bullet. Muhammad Ali, remember him? Greatest boxer ever lived. They tell a story. He was flying on a plane from Houston to Chicago, and the stewardess says, "Hey, you need to put on your seatbelt, sir. We're getting ready to take off." And he doesn't put it on. She comes back, and you put your seatbelt on. He doesn't do it. Finally, she stops. "Look, Mr. Ali, you've got to put your seatbelt on. We cannot take off the plane without the seatbelt." And Muhammad Ali looks at her in his, kind of way he would talk. He says, "Hey, Superman don't need no seatbelt." And the stewardess looks at him and says, "Well, Superman would be flying to Chicago by himself." So he ends up putting on the seatbelt. I mean, we can try to be something, but until we're transformed, we're not really that. Any of you like America's Got a Talent? Show on TV. We were watching it. We watch it tape delayed, and it's really cool. This year's episode 5. You can borrow my VHS if you want it. It's really good. And comedians on there. One of the things that I watch comedians do, and not just on AGTS, but on wherever, they'll give their spiel, and at the end, what 2 words will they say? God bless, right? And then walk off, right? And some of them are as crass and as awful foul-mouthed as can be. I'm like, hey, God bless. Okay, that doesn't really work, right? What you just did, but they'll do it. Hey, God bless. So on AGTS, they had this comedian, and he sits down at the piano, and he was raised in church and been to church, and there's the whole thing, and he's doing this thing, and it was wild. but on national television, millions and millions of people watch this show, right, even around the world. He quotes John 3:16, not once, twice in his shtick. And people are laughing, not at John 3:16, he's just really funny, and they're laughing, and he's quoting script. And that whole audience, the national, they don't even know they're being preached to. This guy was not conforming to the standards of comedian stuff by using foul language and all the stuff that you hear. It was clear that he'd been transformed. He said, hey, I've got a national audience. I'm not going to miss this opportunity to present the good news of Jesus Christ. God loves people. So everyone has heard the other, that God's mad at people, he's going to destroy people, the whole thing. And he does it. And I went, the difference between conformed, God bless, this is what you want to hear, right? And transformed. Our verse this week is in Romans 12. It's in your notes. If you want to pull it out, you can follow along. It says, therefore, brothers and sisters. Now, it says brothers and sisters for a reason. Is because Paul is writing to people who have made a commitment to Jesus. People who have said yes to Christ. He said, we're part of the family of faith that have committed our lives to Jesus. If you have not done that, you don't qualify as a brother or sister in this context. You're part of the brother or sister of humanity, and you're a wonderful person in God's creation. But something happens, you get adopted into the family of God and become a brother and sister. And so Paul's writing to people who have made that commitment. And maybe today this is your day to make that decision. Say, hey, I don't want to just be over here looking in, wearing a costume, coming to church, because we can look like brothers and sisters. Hey, sing the songs, right? Yeah, I love Jesus, the whole thing. We can carry a Bible. But until we have a decision that says, Jesus, I really believe that you're God. I really believe that you are something greater. We're not part of it. So he's writing to the people who have made that decision. In view of the mercies of God, when you recognize who Jesus is and what he did for us, we sang about it just a moment ago, that he died for us. It's like, whoa, I recognize that. I believe it. Now, what do? Well, we present our bodies, our lives, ourselves, our whole person to him as a living sacrifice. We don't sacrifice our life because Jesus did on the cross, so we don't have to. So we're a living sacrifice. He was the dead sacrifice. He says, holy and pleasing, this is true worship. This is what, if you want to worship God, you want to really affirm God, man, offer your bodies. Then we come to verse 2. And he says, do not conform to this age. We'll talk about that in a minute. But be transformed by the renewing of your mind so that you may be able to discern what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God. That's pretty cool. So let's unpack that a little bit. I'm going to give you, your notes have 4 things in them. I'm going to give you maybe 1, or we'll see how far we get, all right? But there are 4 things about transform that I want you to learn this morning, and I may just help you with one of them. Another translation says, do not be conformed to this age. We looked at that. Another one says, don't copy the behavior and customs of the world. It's like, all right, how do we conform? Well, don't copy the customs of favor, conform. Another one is, don't be fashioned according to this world, conformed, fashioned according to this world. Some people will take that and say, hey, don't wear the clothes that this world wears. You have to go around naked, I guess. I don't know. And then I like the Phillips translation. It says it like this: don't let the world around you squeeze you into its own mold. Squeeze you into its own mold. But let God remold your mind from within. That word conform is the Greek word. I wish I could pronounce it, but there it is. When I say it, it sounds like I'm cussing. But you can tell it's the English word. We get the English word schematic from it, right? Schematic. A blueprint. If you ever, if you're in the electrical world, electrical engineer, you've seen schematics. And you use them all the time, don't you, April? Schematics, like, hey. And a blueprint for a house. Hey, this is supposed to look like this. Well, do you realize that the world, this age, has a blueprint for your life, how they want you to look, how our society wants you to look? Hey, if you want to join this club, you got to look like this. If you're part of this clique, if you're in school, you know what that feels like. Hey, all my buddies, we all wear our hats like this. We all wear, and we all got to get the right jeans, get the right clothes, get the right stuff. And hey, that's part of being conformed into the schematic, the blueprint of that group, that club. there's an enemy that has a blueprint for you. It says, I want to conform you into this thing that looks like the world. Here's what's wild is you were born with a DNA that's absolutely unique. You realize that? Your DNA, they've done the whole human genome thing and trillions of lines of code, language, and the whole, and they've discovered that you're like a snowflake. There are no two that are alike. They're different. Hey, all this DNA. Now we can say, hey, human beings have similar DNA, but no two humans have the same DNA. Your blueprint, your schematic is unique to you. As we grow and mature, we're to discover that uniqueness, who we are, how we were made, our gifts, our abilities, our likes, our dislikes. And a lot of times it becomes a revelation to us. Don't you want somebody to know you? Not because of how you dress, not because of how you look, not because of what you wear, not because of how much money you have, but they actually know you. I mean, a lot of people will try to get to know you because you're conformed. You look like somebody popular. I don't know how many people went to the Swiftie thing last night, but thousands and thousands. And I promise you, they all tried to look like very similar, because we're part of this thing. Or you had your groups. But what about the one who really knows you? Knows your likes, knows your fears, knows your joys. And they're not looking to get you to act like or be like them. They just appreciate you for who you are. Uniqueness. You thought when you got married the other person was doing that. You discovered not long into the marriage that they really want you to be a little bit different. Hey, if you could just change this. I know we got married, and I know you said that, hey, this is who I was when we got married, so what's the deal? I know I said that, but I really would like to do some conforming. And there's a spirit in this world that wants to conform you into that blueprint. I had to discover this about Sandy, that she was unique, that she was different. Sandy, and you may have these kind of revelations. You ever do these personality test things? Have anybody done their Enneagram? Is that familiar? I am a 8. 8s are great, right? And I got some kind of wing out there, but I don't worry about the wing because I'm 8. And my wife is a 1. They don't have to know anything about Enneagram, but they're not close. There's only 9, and those are not close. Myers-Briggs. Have you done your Myers-Briggs? I am an ENFP. Yay, go ENFPs. We're extroverts. We want to be seen. We love being in the spotlight, blah, blah, blah. My wife is an ISTJ. Now, you don't have to know anything about that except that the letters, there's not one that are similar. ENFP, ISTJ. No similarities. When my wife and I first getting together 4 years ago, I buy her flowers, right? Every woman loves flowers, chocolate. My wife goes, after we got married, she goes, why do you keep buying me flowers? Oh, because I'm trying to show you how much I love you, how much I appreciate you. She goes, no, that's not my love language. I like acts of service and words of affirmation. I said, well, I don't give those. Because I like gifts, because I'm an ENFP. And so for the next 10 plus years, I worked hard at trying to conform her into an image that I wanted from her. I said, Sandy, watch this Hallmark movie. Look at, they love flowers. Everyone loves flowers. You're the weird one. She goes, no, you're weird. You're watching Hallmark. She has a blueprint that was given to her by God, a schematic given to her by God. And much of the time, our world does not allow us to be created into the image that He made for us. Thankfully, Sandy and I are both brothers and sisters. We've made a commitment to Jesus. And so we can present ourselves as living sacrifices because that's what we're supposed to do. That's just reasonable. It's our worship. And so, even though we were miles apart, because of Christ, because of the commitment to Him, He says, hey, Charlie, do you recognize that's her blueprint? That's her schematic? Now, I want you to be a living sacrifice for her. I want you to do acts of service for her. And it is a sacrifice because I don't do acts of service. She'll go, hey, can you wash the windows? Okay, fine, I'll wash the windows. So I'll get the hose, I'll bring it inside the house and just start spraying everything down. She's like, time out. What? I'm doing what you asked. Be happy. No, no, no. You have to do it like this. You have to use a little tiny toothbrush, and you have to go through, and every single little piece. Do you see why now it's a sacrifice? Right? But I'm not going to force her into my mold, into my image. And I will be a living sacrifice to serve her image and her blueprint. 2 Corinthians 4:4 says it like this. Satan, who is the what? God of this age, God of this world, God of this culture, has blinded the minds who don't believe. Somebody who has not given their life to Christ has done so because they don't believe that Jesus really is God. If you're here this morning, you're watching online today, you have not given your life to Christ because you don't believe that Jesus really is worth it. You don't see him for who he is. The enemy has blinded your eyes. You can't see it and hear the light of the good news, so they don't understand about the glory of Christ. And check this out, who is the exact likeness of God. A perfect blueprint of God, because he is God. You go, oh, you want to see God? You look at Jesus, perfect blueprint. And here's what's really cool, is the blueprint that he made you, the schematic that you are, that he's wanting to transform you into, is that also the image of Christ. With your own personality, with your own ideas, with your own introvert, extrovert, with your own personality profiles, all that stuff. It says, hey, you're going to look more like Christ if you let me transform you. You can be conformed by the God of this world, and maybe you can put on a really good outfit. Maybe you can have a really good mask. But you're not going to be transformed. And when you're transformed, people love Jesus. He came and showed us how to love. Your wife will love you more when you look like him. It's hard, though. The Bible says it's a command. Do not conform. Do not conform. Do not put on the costume that the world has for you. See, Satan has a costume for you. He'll tell you that your DNA is not really who you are. Now, that's not really a good a picture for you, a good blueprint for you. He blinds us from seeing it. And he tells us to conform to somebody else's blueprint. And we see this push and see it encouraged in people all over trying to, hey, you need to change your blueprint. You ought to change who you really are. That's not who you are. What you feel deep down inside is who you really are, but not who you were created, not what your DNA says. And no matter how many drugs I take or how many surgeries I have, the blueprint stays the same. I'm simply a little boy or a little girl wearing a Superman costume, Wonder Woman. And it may be a really nice Superman costume, really expensive, and pay a lot of money for it. But when the bullets hit, I still hurt. And he says, don't be conformed. Don't put on the costume. Don't just wear what the world wants you to be. Be transformed. Here's something you need to hear. God never commands us to do that which is not possible. God never commands us to do that which is not possible. That would be an unfair God. Well, I want you to do this. Great. Can't do it. Here's the thing. To be transformed, I can't do alone. Conformity, I can do all by myself. If I get enough money, I can buy the mask, I can buy the cape, I can get myself looking however I want to look, I can buy the right clothes, wear the right, drive the right car, live in the right house. I can do it myself. But to have a transformation, to be actually changed in my mind, in my heart, and who I am, it takes God. I have to take it to the maker, the designer, the one who wrote the blueprints, the creator. And the reason it's hard is because I have to admit that I'm not God. See, your problem right now, my problem right now, the thing that you're facing that You're going, oh, what are we going to do? What's going to happen here? The reason you're having that problem, the reason I'm having that problem is because I don't believe God. God's not going to be able to handle it, so I've got to take it over. And I'm trying to make it work in my own ability, my own strength, instead of recognizing, hey, there is a God who loves me and will turn all things together for good to those who love him and are called according to his purpose. But right now you're seeing God not do it the way you want him to. It's not working the way you planned it to work out, so you're ticked at him. And then what do? We take over. I got to go into the phone booth. Okay, remember phone booths? I got to put on the mask, got to put on the cape, I got to come out of there, and I got to be Superman because God's obviously dropped the ball. And I take the wheel, driving that Batmobile, and inevitably, no matter how good of a driver I am, or how great I think I am, I'm behind the wheel, I will ding that car. I will get into an accident. I will hurt somebody else. I will hurt myself. Sandy and I went to the Mariners game on our birthday the other night. Some people last hour said they saw us on the big screen. That was kind of fun. She was beat red. Guy was down there, and he's going, I need somebody without alcohol. And I'm, hey, me, right? And he, oh, yeah, great. And Sandy's, doing something over here. I go, hey, stand up, right? She goes, what? Stand up. And that screen's big. Anyways, somebody said, hey, we saw you. Where was I going? Oh, yeah. A few years back, I bought her the nicest car we've ever owned. It's her Acura MDX. Beautiful car. We bought it used, but it was still under warranty, so it was a really nice car. And we drive it to the game, and it's always hard to park, right? Where do you go? We go into this garage. The garages are tight, and there's a spot there. But the problem with this spot, there's one of those big round posts like we have out back here, and there's big round posts there. And she goes, no, don't pick there, just keep going. I go, no, that's that sweet spot. It's like position A right there. I'm taking that spot. She goes, no, it's going to be tight. I said, no, it won't be tight. It'll be fine. You guys ever have this discussion, right? You never find the right parking spot, and then she does. Anyway, so I go, no, I'm taking it. You watch this, right? And so about 7 times, I finally get in there, and she goes, how are you going to get out? Because I'm here, the door, and then this post is like right here. And there was a day when I could get it out of any car, like when I was 3. But recently things have expanded, and she says you can't get out, and I can get out. And I didn't know my backside had expanded as big as it had, because I'm stuck, and I'm pushing the car up against this post, and I'm pushing, and she's already out, she's coming around, and then she's giving me what for, because she goes, you're scratching the car. I go, no, no, you're scratching the car up. Well, I can't see the car because I'm now stuck, and I'm here. She goes, get back in the car, you're scratching the car all up. I go, okay, fine, because I literally was stuck, and I wasn't going any further. I would have had to strip down and put grease all over everything. That still wouldn't happen. So I get back in and find that part, and sure enough, there's this beautiful pearl black paint, and it's scratched, and she's looking at it, and I said, hey, don't worry. I'm going to get some touch-up paint. And you guys are laughing. Amazon's delivering it today or tomorrow. When I take the wheel, I'm in charge, and I ding that car, no matter how much touch-up paint or how much pucky I put on that thing, you're going to tell. You're going to buy that car. You go buy that car, and you're going to go, that's where Charlie got stuck and jacked it up. I can't make it new. I don't have the ability, I don't have the skills, I don't have the tools. The only one who does is the OEM, original equipment manufacturer. I got to take it back to the Acura dealership. Or somebody's been approved by Acura to work that thing out. They're going to have to take it, and they're going to have to grind it down and sand it all off and tape it and do some dinging stuff and whatever they do. And you know what? It's a hassle. So you got to take your car in. It's inconvenient. You leave it there and the whole deal, and then hopefully get it back. And it's expensive and all the stuff. No, I just put some pucky on it. Just put a little touch up. And you know what? You can't see it from a distance. How many of us have lived our lives and put a little pucky on it? And we never allow ourselves to get close to another individual. Because if I do, oh, you're wearing a mask. You're not really Superman. You're not really Wonder Woman. You just painted over the scratches. You put Bondo all in that thing. Anybody know what Bondo is? 3 of you. All right, well, look it up. God says, bring it to me. We have a saying we have around here. It says, you do the difficult, God will do the impossible. See, God says it's a partnership. When you present your body as a living sacrifice, you're bringing it to Him, saying, God, here I am. Transform me. I've been conformed, and I've made some mistakes and some failures, and I've done some dings, and I've got some pucky, and so I need a OEM. And God says, you know, Charlie, it's a partnership. I'm not a dictator. And some of you, He's been calling you. Hey, come, bring your car in. Let's take the mask off and let's really make the transformation. And you've been holding out, and God will never force you because He's not a dictator. You have to willingly, a living sacrifice, a willing sacrifice to bring to Him. You know, you hear stories about guys who have founded companies and built it up and got the patent, the IP, and they've, you know, and they've grown the thing. It's really successful, and they brought in some partners, and sometimes those partners will gang together and then get rid of the founder. And it's a sad kind of story. You're like, oh, man, that's terrible. He built that thing, and she did that, and, man, they kicked her out, right? What's going on? You know, this has been going on for thousands of years. Jesus tells a story like this in Matthew 21. He says, now listen to this story. A certain landowner planted a vineyard, built a wall around it, dug a pit for pressing out the grape juice, and built a lookout tower. This guy, he took it, he put it together, planted the seeds, tended the ground, built the barns, all the stuff. And he says, oh, hey, now I'm going to lease it to the tenant farmers. And he moved to another country. At the time of the grape harvest, he sent his servants to collect a share of the crop. But the farmers grabbed his servants, beat one, killed one, and stoned another. You got to be kidding me. For all the work he did, built this up, gave you a place to grow your crops, and this is how you treat them? So the landowner sent a larger group of his servants to collect for him, but the results were the same. Wow, what a bunch of putzes. It doesn't say that in my Bible, it might in yours. I just made that up. But verse 37, finally, the owner sent his son, if you can follow the metaphor, thinking, surely they will respect my son. But the tenant farmers saw his son coming. They said to one another, here comes the heir to this estate. Come on, let's kill him and get the estate for ourselves. So they grabbed him, dragged him out of the vineyard, and murdered him. Hey, I don't want to bow to anybody. I don't want to be submitted to anybody. I don't want to give anything to anybody else. I want the farm all to myself. I don't need no OEM. I'm in charge of my own life. I can make myself anybody I want to be, put on any costume I want to wear. Be my own God. In verse 40, he says, when the owner of the vineyard returns, Jesus asked, what do you think he will do to those farmers? The people replied, he will put the wicked men to a horrible death and lease the vineyard to others who will give him his share of the crop after each harvest. Yeah, killed his son, killed all his servants. Wicked men. Verse 45, when the leading priests and Pharisees, the people in church, heard this parable, they realized he was telling the story against them. They were the wicked farmers. A wicked farmer is one who wants to run the farm without God. I created myself. I made my own life. I can be Superman if I want to. I can be anybody I want to be. And here's the crazy thing. We can fake everybody else out. But one thing that you know and one thing that God knows is what's behind the mask. All the dents, all the scrapes, all the brokenness, all the hurt. And some of you get mad. Some of us, we get mad when somebody tells us, hey, you can't treat your life any way you want to. Yes, it's your life, but it's not your life. See, you've been bought with a price. And we're to bring it as a living sacrifice. And he gave his life for us, so we give our life for him. So yes, it's your life, but you give it. And if you don't, it's not your farm. Yes, it is my farm. No, you didn't create yourself. Caleb and I drove him to Florida to college a couple years back, and we went the southern route and down in San Diego, and 5 a.m, we're going to stop and get donuts because that'll just take you all the way to at least, Nevada. It'll take you to Temecula, and so we pull and we come to this place, and I don't know San Diego. I've driven down there, and this intersection has got 5 roads coming into one intersection, and you got these lights that are kind of going this way, and the donut shop is right there. I'm just kind of following the gal on the thing, and I could see the donut shop, and I can't. How do I do this? It's 5 a.m. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna go, and I went, and I pulled right into the donut shop, and I'm not even out of the car, and right behind me comes the Popo, and he pulls. I go, what's he doing? Oh, it's a donut shop. No, it wasn't he stopped. He said, hey, do you know that you made a wrong turn there? And I go, man, I don't know. I'm not from here. And I didn't know. I couldn't quite figure it out. So I thought if I just did that, I could get there. And he goes, yeah, well, you know what? That's dangerous, and cars will come, and people will die. And so let's be careful. I said, thank you, right? Would you like a donut? No, I didn't offer him a donut. I said, thank you. And he let me go. About, 2 years ago, Sandy and I were downtown Swedish hospital visiting somebody, praying for him, and we're trying to get out of the city. And you know what it's like being in the city. This was more than 2 years ago, so it wasn't during COVID, it was pre-COVID, so whatever time that was. We're coming down that hill, and the traffic is there, and it's like Seattle, right? And the sign says, no right turn or no left turn. You don't turn here. You just got to be here the rest of your life. Just enjoy your life, the rest of it right here. Because the light keeps turning. It's not turning for me, and I want to go. I got to get out of here, right? I'm like, and I said, I'm just going to go. She says, no, don't go. I said, no, I'm just going to go. She goes, don't go. It says don't go. I said, I know what it says, but I'm just going to go. And so I just go. No Popo, nothing. Sweet. 2 weeks later, I get my picture in the mail. They got a picture of me. And I'm sitting there, looking up, reading the sign, and it's got a picture of my wife saying, don't go. and that one cost me $269. Do not be conformed to this world. I've given you a blueprint for your life. And whenever you wonder if your life is going off the rails or something, just look at the blueprint. And it'll get you back on track. And many times I have read the blueprint and I got a better way. I know what the book says, but my way's better. And I've wrecked my car. And I've smashed up other people's lives. And some of you here this morning, you got a lot of wrecks going. Now you look good on the outside. You got a good looking, you've got some good pucky and bondo and a mask, and the whole thing is working for you. But if I got close to you, the marriage is not where you dreamed it would be. She's not conforming. He's not being. Your kids are a wreck. Finances, don't even go there. Come on, don't even look at the financial picture. It's a mess. Doing it your way. The God of this age is conforming you. Yeah, spend more, buy more, look more. Don't give God anything. He doesn't give you money, church, right? All right, I got to quit. It's time to close. I got 3 more points. We're not going to get to them. My son, Caleb, same one I took to California, he wrecked the truck once and backed into a guy and came in, didn't tell me about it, and finally found out, and I just ripped into him. How could you be so stupid? What are you thinking? Not a proud moment for me. Very, very ashamed of how I treated my kids. Here's what's amazing though. When I've wrecked the car, wrecked my marriage, and I run to the Father, He's never once scolded me. He's never once yelled at me. Guys, I want you to sing that song. You sing that song again. You did such an awesome song, Caitlin. Run to the Father. Let's stand together. I want you to think about it. Where's your life? What are you hiding? What mask are you wearing? How have you conformed this world? And God is saying, hey, bring your life to me. I can see behind the mask. I know what's really going on in your life. Run to me. I won't scold you. I'm not mad at you. Yeah, we're going to have to do some sanding and some pucking and some cleaning, some pounding to get you right. But come to me. Bring your life as a living sacrifice.
Again and again, I run to the Father, I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, the reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I run to the Father again and again and again and again. Oh. So I'll run to the Father again and again and again and again. Again and again. It's in my heart. My heart has been in your sight. Long before my first breath, running into your arms, running to life from death. I feel this rush deep in my chest. Your mercy is calling out, just as I am. You pull me in, and I know to the Father, fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, the reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I run to the Father again and again and again and again. I fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, the reason to wait. My heart needs a surgeon, my soul needs a friend. So I'll run to the Father again and again and again and again.
You come to the place, you go, I've got too many dings, too many scratches. Maybe you come to the place, you just give it up. You're just driving the, duct tapes, holding the bumper on, and this is just my life. I don't even care. I've done everything I know to do. I got plastic in the windshield, tires flat, but hey, this is all I have. And today's your day to become a brother or sister. Become a child of God, a true child of God that says, Jesus, you're real, and I need you. I'm bringing my life. I'm going to take off the mask. Stop pretending. And let the transformation process begin. Let's bow our heads, maybe just close our eyes. And just want to ask you, are you here this morning and you're ready? Maybe today is your day to give your life to Christ. Maybe you're watching online and you want to let the person know who's hosting this morning to Say, hey, I want to stop hiding. I want to run to the Father. Would you lift your hand if you're in this room? Just lift your hand. Let me know. I'm the only one looking around, and I'd love to see if there's someone here that says, hey, that's me. That's me. I'm ready to run to the Father. Just quickly put your hand up and put it back down, and I'll just acknowledge and pray with you. Thank you, Jesus. Give you just another minute. Anyone here? I'm ready to run to the Father. I need Him. Father, I thank you, God, that we can come to you and you don't yell at us. God, that we can fall into the arms of grace, that unmerited, undeserved, God, beauty, that Christ would die for me. You're worth my everything, Lord. So today, God, I give you my life. I give you my heart. I give you me. Not the masked me, but the me with all the dents and scratches and touch-up paint and body work. God, I want to be transformed. And I won't run off your Son ever again. It's your life. It belongs to you. Thank you, Jesus. In your mighty name, amen. Amen. Turn the house lights up real quick, please. I filled out my connection card, and I met Kate and Julie, and I met Tina. And so I put them on my connection card. And if you met somebody today, I want to pray for them because they may be new, or you may be the new one that met them. And I want to pray for you. These go in the baskets on your way out. You can drop them there. Our prayer team is right over here by the cross. If going, hey, I was a little too afraid to raise my hand, but I really do want to run to the Father. I really do want a life change. Today could be your day. Just go talk to the pastor at the cross. Sure love you guys. Thanks for being here. And thank you, Abby, for joining us today. Have a great week. God bless you. Come back next week and maybe I'll finish.